time is running out here right now for Bitcoin. I will show you what I have found, what is telling us the exact moment when Bitcoin will see another meteoric rise to the upside based on historical data that I have found. If you think that's interesting, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, like this video, and also activate the bell so that you will never miss out on these really important updates. And now let's get into it. Let's start off here once again on the daily chart. Nothing has really changed since yesterday. We see right now another rejection to the downside here. So instead of a nice bullish pattern that could have formed here, we see continuation to the downside, and that is opening us up to actually touch the underlying bigger support cluster that I was also talking yesterday about, and potentially touching here once again $62,300, $400 approximately. But I can tell you one thing: if we go and touch down here, I will open such a massive long position. I think I haven't opened in a long time such a big long position if we get down there. And I'm going to show you in a moment why I'm going to do that when we come down to this specific level here. Otherwise, again, there is no reason to panic right now as long as we are staying above that support cluster and the bull flag formation here with the bottom around $60,000. Lose $50,000 and then we can start to panic and start actually getting out of our positions, because when we have a $10,000 potential drop on Bitcoin afterwards, our altcoins, they will just nuke 80%, 50%, 60%. They will go insanely to the downside, and you don't want to have any exposure then in the market for the time being until we recover from this. But again, that is a scenario that I'm not seeing. A retest of that support zone, then continuation to the upside, potentially even earlier than that. I actually don't want to talk about the moon phases. This is also coming later. So let's talk about the imbalances here on the 4-hourly chart and also the support zone that we are testing right now. As you can see, price action is trying to break into this support area of $63,800 to $63,000 approximately. The stochastic RSI is not looking super heavily bearish, in my opinion. The RSI is also still in bearish territory and starting to look a little bit oversold. And also here the MACD is printing another darker red candle. So all this considered tells me that we get here potentially some continuation to the downside before we see a move back to the upside here. But I can also tell you, the longer this goes on, the more violent will be the move here back to the upside. So if we would, for some weird reason, actually start moving here back to the upside, then the first level that we need to overcome and claim back as support is $65,000. And only from there, we can look at other targets like the Monday high and so on here based on this 4-hourly chart. But I still want to remind you, these fair value gaps, these imbalances in these candles, they are still acting as a magnet overall and will attract price back to the upside. Now, when we're going to this 30 minutes chart, remember I pointed out yesterday that we had here, interestingly, a bullish divergence forming. The bullish divergence played also out exactly as I told you. I said here target would be the upper end of that resistance area, and if we can reclaim that we will then go higher. We did not reclaim it, we got rejected from there, and yeah, that's why we are seeing here move to the downside. Also, this pennant that we were forming is breaking down right now and potentially giving us continuation to the downside. So you can also go and say, hey, here's an M pattern in this downward sloping trend channel. So here's your M pattern. So if you wanted to short this, so it would be a really, really quick short, and I would use high leverage on that, because this is like a $900 move. So this is 1.5%. So here you really need to use at least like 30x leverage or something if you wanted to play this. So we are seeing here now a small bounce. I would not be too confident in that bounce unless we are coming here back above this upward sloping trend line of that potential pennant. If we do, then we are potentially completing this bullish pattern, and this would be just a fake out where we come back up and then go to the upside. So if we would do that, the level to watch would be here $64,600 approximately, $64,600 that we need to break. And then we could trade this to the technical target of $65,770. But I want to remind you, there are other patterns that I've shown you also yesterday and the other days before that are pointing to way, way higher targets once we are getting back here above $65,000. So I want to remind you about this. What did I find that is telling me the exact time frame when Bitcoin stops basically chopping around here in a sideways manner? Let me show it to you. There is here a chart that tells it all. And I'm here on the Bitstamp chart, on the daily chart. And here on the daily chart, I found something really interesting. After every Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin needs or gets a consolidation phase of around 50 to 70 days before we see another breakout to the upside and basically kick off the real parabola for that bull run. And I want to show you that this is happening every single time. So I went here into 2016. Here there you see it was 57 days from the actual halving here on the 9th of July. And then here at the 5th of September, that was where we were starting to go up again and started here the parabola. The same happened in 2020. In 2020, we had here on the 11th of May, our halving event, and Bitcoin started to go sideways in a range until 27th of July, where we saw a massive pump to the upside. So we pumped from 9,500 to 12,400. So that was like a 30% move to the upside, 35% move to the upside within a really short time span of like 2 weeks. So a really short time span where we saw this impulsive move to the upside for Bitcoin. Now, the only question is, how long will Bitcoin go sideways now before we see this impulsive move that we saw in the past playing out again? So the time window that we have is between June, 18th of June and 29th of June, 28th of June. That is the time window that we have. So wait, if it's here, the 18 must be 13 days later. So it is the 1st of July, guys. Sorry, 1st of July. So between 18th June and 1st of July, we should see the start of the real parabolic move here for Bitcoin over the next couple of months. So this will not be a straight line. It will resemble something like this, what I've drawn here, more or less. So this is just for illustration purposes. So don't try to trade. But it will look something like this. Where we go up, we come back down, we go way higher, come stronger down again, and then go way higher than we were before. Creating a higher highs and higher lows along the way. To maintain this healthy uptrend until it gets broken, and we create a higher low, a lower high, and then lower lows, and then we start the bear market again. So, but this is some point next year, so not this year. I would not be concerned about this at all for this year. So, but yeah, so that actually tells you what Bitcoin is going to do. Now the question is, can we make money in between here? Yes, definitely, because at the same time where Bitcoin started to go sideways here, altcoins were exploding. So don't be afraid, Bitcoin going sideways for maybe a little bit more than, basically for 6 weeks before we see here any real movement again, because altcoins usually rally in that time when Bitcoin found its footing, So Bitcoin just needs to continue to do this, so to range here between 60 and 70K long enough that people get bored, So now you have to understand we are doing this already for a month, more or less, so the sideways action. Let it go on for another 2 weeks. And then I believe that we are going to see money rotating out of Bitcoin into altcoins because people will get bored and want to have some fun. And the only way to do this is if they take their money out of Bitcoin and put it in something else. And I can also tell you something different than that is that they're definitely not taking the money and sitting on the sidelines, because usually it's the degens and the impatient people, impatient people, I think. Unpatient people that are doing stuff like this. So, like I said, we should still have some fun time until we see here Bitcoin finishing up this sideways trajectory and get a nice move here to the upside. Here on the 1 hourly chart, we see another reason why Bitcoin went down. So remember, I told you here was like this resistance area, but also just above that is this fair value gap. You see here it's starting, there it's ending on the 1 hourly chart at least. And we just basically tapped into it and got straight hammered down again. So this area here is acting as heavy resistance right now for the Bitcoin price. From 64,444 to like 65,200. Here, it looks like that Bitcoin on the shorter time frames will at least try to reclaim this level over the next, let's say, 4 hours. So and then we have to see what's happening here. So if we are able to reclaim 65,200 again, we will go higher from there. If not, then get ready that we potentially get another lower low here on the lower time frame structures to $62,300. So, and again, from these levels, I'm looking for adding to my Bitcoin position if we get down to this exact price here. Now on the liquidation levels, however, so here also something has changed. We have more over-leveraged long positions now here. Again, unfortunately, below us, all the way down to like, I cannot make this up, guys. It's exactly at the level where I would long Bitcoin from. If we get down to $62,356, there are still some 50x Bitcoin long positions that will get liquidated. But look how much concentrated liquidity we have above us, So this is getting ridiculous that market makers are not sending Bitcoin here first to the upside and let Bitcoin grind more and more here down slowly instead of just sending it, cleaning everything up and then nuke it back down, So let it even go to 57. I don't care, So, but send it first up, so that everybody can make money. And then once we're up here, we reevaluate what's going to happen, but just do it, So I'm also one of the impatient people, I don't like waiting around, but yeah, sometimes we have to learn how to sit on our hands. Now, when it comes to my Bitcoin here to the Bitcoin heat map, let me refresh that quick. Here on 24 hours, you see also, so there's so much liquidity stacked above us again. Here on the hotter areas, we have one level here below us at $63,500 approximately. Once we are touching this, I expect a bounce back to the upside and then potentially clean everything up that's above us all the way up to $66,000. From there, we have again and to reevaluate the situation. It could be that this is just a fake out where they turn it again around over the weekend. But if we can hold 65 over the weekend, once we're getting here and have everybody liquidated on the short side into Monday, then I believe that we are also moving up into higher prices in the direction of $70,000. So, but first I want to see a reclaim of $65,200. Here also on the monthly chart, I guess nothing has changed. Yeah, only here this area at $67,000 got again more liquidity, so it's way more bright yellow than before. So, and there's now only there is $1.16 billion sitting right now in short liquidations. So what is below us? Here's almost nothing, So here, if I take here every single level, here's maybe 600 million, 700 million. But here on the way up, alone here at 65,500, there's so here in a $90 spread is the same amount that I have here in a $700 spread. So where would you as a market maker drive price? You know, somewhere where you have a $90 spread to get $700 million, or will you drive it into a $700 spread to make the same money? You know, so it makes no sense to push it lower. You know, so of course it doesn't always have to make sense to push price lower. You know, so but from the logic here, it makes no sense to push it first low and then back to the upside, especially with price action being kind of like in the middle. You know, so but I believe when we're touching here $67,300, that will actually then kick off a short squeeze that could bring us all the way up to $72,000, because there is still the longest and thickest area of short liquidations here, also with $1 billion. So there's actually more money, less money sitting than down here right now, which is crazy. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Really quick, my positions that I have. So I have one Solana position here that I added today already, a little bit money to it. Another 15K that I added on this cross position. Right now, $2,000 underwater. Again, I'm not really concerned about this. I believe that here is also a really, really big move zone coming, because here on Solana, there's still on this 30 minutes chart, more or less here. So here's still kind of like a divergence forming. But also want to point out here is potentially a ugly head and shoulders pattern. But still, my liquidation price, I don't even have a liquidation price, so I'm not really concerned about this position. I would just write it out and dollar cost averaging down my entry price. When it comes here to BYBIT, here on BYBIT, my Bitcoin position, so everything is underwater, as you can see. But again, I don't think that I will get liquidated here. And before that happens, I will just add more money. You know, so also here, I'm quite confident that I can hold on to my position, and that we're gonna see here pretty soon a really strong bounce, because Bitcoin is always acting when we see something like this. You know, when we have like these downward sloping channels, see them as like a spring, you know, so the more you squeeze the spring together, the more kinetic energy is building up, and at some point you're gonna see this, you know, so here, so at some point the energy is released and you see a big move to the upside, you know, so try, you know, if you're a spring somewhere from like a roller pen or something, you know, squeeze it together and try to hold this for like 30 minutes, you know, you cannot will jump open, you know, because you will just lose the strength to hold together for that time. And the same happens here, you know, the longer you suppress Bitcoin and push to the downside, the more violent will be the move to the upside at some point. Yeah, so if you want to use some of these exchanges, don't forget BYBIT. A BYBIT link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. Also Margex, and if you cannot use BYBIT, use Phemex or BITGET. They're equally good. And yeah, you still get deposit bonuses on all these exchanges. And guys, that's it already for this video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you then again tomorrow.